your opinion or intake or how internalize it, and I expect you to do the same. And this is for entertainment purposes only. Now, last week we talked about victimization, and then it happened after that topic. We had a sad scenario here in Kenya in one of the boarding school, high schools that belong to, it was an all girls boarding school that had a fire incident that, and it claimed uh, a couple of girls and others were injured. And well, later on, after investigations and CCTV footages were seen, because nowadays it's required for dormitories to have CCTV footage on the common areas. That means the corridor or passageways and also the security doors. It it has invoked a lot of questions of how safe are boarding schools for young kids. One, because let's agree. You might disagree, but let's agree to this. Uh, we have all have that safety net that in school people are supposed to follow rules and all regulations, forgetting that we have students coming from different homes, different backgrounds, some of them having traumatic issues and also having mental issues. And we can also agree that school counselors, like from my era, teachers who are the head of counseling were not as much trusted because, well, you might find them talking about maybe something you opened up about in the staff room, and you become the either laughing stock for the teachers or um, the topic to be had, like for discussion. And I think here in Kenya, uh, gone are the days that we need only teachers who are counselors or maybe studied a section of counseling. We need professional counseling in schools and psychiatrists, especially psychiatrists, because from the CCTV footages that were released, seeing how there were about 6 or 7 girls or 8 uh, that had waited for every girl to sleep, and in the middle of the night walk about and light uh, light up the flammable things and throw it in the cubes of their fellow students. One thing I noticed, the dorm was overcrowded. That's also a fire hazard. And seeing them, how they were creeping and how organized they were. People were asking, okay, where did they get the petrol? Then there's a CCTV footage video showing of a girl siphoning fuel from the backup generator. To get that mindset to reach on that point that you go and siphon fuel to use as an accelerant to start the fire, that's to call it somebody who had known where the source of flames will come from. If they had lighters, meaning that's a contraband, which is not allowed in high school, or either you're smoking illegally. So that also you'd wonder, or somebody was in cahoots, or maybe talking with the kitchen staff because they use fire matchsticks to start fire to cook for the students. Then again, because even the incident, obviously, more okay, it's not obvious, but for it to happen, that um, incident, that students, okay, there's the panic, the adrenaline rush, that hi, welcome. Yeah, okay, I cannot pronounce that name. So the stampede happened and some people lost their lives because of being run over. And that happens a lot in the crowded areas because everyone is in the mental state. You are just asleep and all of a sudden people are screaming or smoke has choked you and you wake up and the first thing is run for safety and you're all running towards one door. Now, uh, let's go back in time. We did have something of the sort when I was in Form 1, uh, first year of high school. Young girls had planned, Form 3s had planned to strike and burn down or destroy the facility. And we knew it later on after it backfired. Now, I've had the grievances of students since when we were much younger, and you'll hear schools have been burned down because of the students striking. And the funny thing is, the grievances are nearly the same year in, year out. One, it's always complain about the quality of food. Two, it's always about the rules that they're expected to follow that they feel that it's constricting. Mostly for the girls, it's being told not to wear tight skirts or short skirts. And then three, usually it's either about the punishment, the corporal punishment they pass through. Some schools were extreme. Some high schools I know from Kajiado, the boy child was really being beaten. As punishment used to be hard labor, you'll be told to carry cow dung to the shamba, to the farm. It's a little distance. It's like about 500 meters away. It's not such, you may think it's not that long, but carrying with your own bucket that you shower with, that's now when you feel it ickish. The other punishment was washing the cow shed. Yeah, you'll smell like biogas after that. And the other thing, in our school we were punished, was to uproot the acacia stump, which is deep rooted. You'll have scabs on the hands, scars on the hands. And also the other one was to look for the queen termite. If there's a anthill in the field, you'll be told to dig that up. So those were the kind of punishments our high school used to do. It differs with every school. You find other schools, they will either suspend you and tell you to buy a certain item to bring back. And okay, others, the corporal punishment, being beaten. I think also there's also one punishment in our school. If you're found oversleeping past the time you're supposed to be in morning preps, you be prepared to sleep the whole day under the parade ground, which was hot, and you're told to cover yourself. So sleep. You wanted to sleep, and then the suspension and expulsion also happened, depending with the case, if it was severe or it was not as much. Now, when we were in Form 1, let me tell you the incident of our high school backfired strike. Back then, it seems like it picks as a wave. After midterm, you find after we have gone home for midterms, maybe your neighbors who are in different high school, you share your issues that you have with your school system. And then the planning starts from there, mostly. I think, but yeah, sometimes planning starts from how young people interact with each other. And here's where peer pressure plays a big part. Then we went back. It was the second term, midterm. We had, after the midterm, we went home. And for us, Form 1s, there was a trip that was planned after we went back to school after midterms. And the midterm was the break that we were given to go and request for the money, the fare money for that will cater for the trip that we were to take. It was called the Baby's Day Out. It was the first ever done in our school because we were the only class that had both the two streams had male class teachers in charge. So we used to talk to them freely and said we wanted a trip. Actually, for us, we did trips from Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. So in Form 1, the trip was called Baby's Day Out. And the teachers had this idea that because most of us, our classes were a mesh of people from different counties or provinces. Back then, it was provinces. Yeah, provinces. And some of them didn't know their capital city very well. So it was Baby's Day Out to learn or to familiarize ourselves with Nairobi city. It was planned. We went to the parliament for the sitting and felt how the MPs, members of parliament, house, how they sat and where the visitors were sitting, and learn about the parliament house before it was extended to have the MCA and the Senate house and the governor house. So we went to parliament. We also went to Uhuru Park. We have a park in Nairobi, recreational park. Then where did we go? We also went in the streets of Nairobi, learning the streets and navigating the streets. And then that was it. It was a one-day trip. We started it at morning 7 and came back at school at around 5, 6 there. Little did we know that one of our classmates was the one who was sent to ferry or buy the matchstick. Now, so the ones who organized were Form 3s and a little bit of Form 4s. Their grievances were, they wanted to have the freedom of wearing skirts that were tighter and shorter, the food quality to be improved, and also the tight notch on the strictness to be lessened. So, us who are not aware, didn't know there was any planning because, well, we had this high of happiness. We are going for a trip, sharing with our classmates, and then have a good experience to learning our Nairobi city for those who are new to Nairobi city, and also for those who have been going there, like being there as a young adult, without your parents hovering over you. That I digress. So we went back, had our supper. So on Saturday, we usually have entertainment in the evening after having our dinner. And usually back then, before the program was changed, on Saturdays we used to watch movies. Actually, two. So you'll choose if it's African movie or Hollywood movie. I'm sorry, there were no Bollywood movies or any other country movies. It was either that, and mostly it will win the Nigerian movies because some people related with it, and also for some people, okay, our school was highly Christian people who saw American movies as too violent or too romantic. I'll leave it at that. Now, on that day, I should have noticed there was something new, weird, because that was the day that it was planned during the entertainment time. And I usually sat with friends I had friends in Form 3 and Form 4. So where I usually sat was surrounded by the Form 3s and Form 4s. That day I went to sit there, I was told, no, not today. So I was told to go and sit with my fellow Form 1s. So I thought that was weird, but I thought, okay, maybe today they just want their clique or something to discuss on their own. I didn't even have much thought on it. So I went and sat on the on your way to the stage, the stairwells. That's where Form 1s usually sat, closer to the television set. Now, here's where the, the plan went and backfired, because it was planned that one of them was supposed to switch the main switch, the lights of the main switch. And once they were turned off or switched off, then the ones who are, one was to run, the one who knew how to run and who knew, because their home, it was near the school, to run and ferry the fuel. And that's why I say these things are diabolical, because you never know who you're studying with. We have psychopaths with them. Now, the lights decided, this is now also the one thing that was also weird. Usually we have a teacher on duty that's just who lives at the teacher's quarters near the school, and it's usually one. And the principal also lives near the school, so she usually retires if it's not her duty time. And also the deputy lives in the town nearby, but that day he didn't go home early, and he was in charge of the entertainment. So that's the one thing I noticed, like, okay, the principal is still around, the teacher on duty during the day was still around, the deputy principal was also around, and obviously the night duty teacher was around, and they were not in a hurry to go anywhere. So it seems like they had known there was something that was planned. Anyway, so they had planned to switch off the main switch, and then one goes and ferries the fuel and then come back and now set ablaze whatever they wanted to set ablaze. Now, this is where I say, when you plan, the universe laughs or God laughs. And naturally, the lights, before the set time, the the lights, we had a blackout, a natural blackout. And for those who didn't get the memo, thought that was the cue to start the fracas, and they started throwing stones. So people, for me, when the lights turned off, I went to factory setting and slept. I tried to sleep, waiting for the lights to come back, or we were told to go to sleep. I was just laying my head, and then I had screams. Before I could even react, one girl who was sitting across from me, I don't know if it is leaping or elevated, she just, and I'm told she was short. She just, I just had like air above my head. She literally jumped over my head, running towards the windows that were at my back, the windows where the stage now is, trying to go to the window and jump from that. And it's a very high place. It's about 1 story high from the ground. So then in my maze, usually my adrenaline doesn't make me flight of the one for running away or just running without knowing where I'm running to. Usually I'm calculating. I just wake up and then calculate where is the way to least resistance so that I can be safe. But I woke up and found people throwing stones. And then all of a sudden, the lights came. I saw the lights coming back from where I was sitting. I could see the administration block. I saw the lights coming, like with waves coming back. And it found people with stones on their hands trying to throw them. And the principal was outside there. So they also saw the girl who was supposed to go and ferry the jerrycan and go and get the fuel. And the lights came back on. So now it was serious. It was a serious case because um, the watchman was standby on the gate, uh, reported the girl who was running towards the gate. And then the principal said, now we need to have a serious talk. The movie was still continuing. So me, I was like, this has nothing to do with me. Let me just continue, even if it's on mute. I'll keep on watching the movie. But the principal gave a speech, and also the deputy came, the teachers came, and I was like, wait, where did the other teachers come from? Uh, and also there were policemen on standby. And now the principal said, we are aware that you were planning to strike tonight, and it's sad that you wanted, we already have the list of the people you wanted to kill. That's what got my attention. I was like, wait, what? Okay. Um, you wanted to, now she said, because she was a single mother, her husband had long passed, and now she says, you wanted to kill me and leave my children with who? That was touching because we didn't expect it. It became we were given a lecture from the principal, from the deputy, from the teachers for about 2 hours. We even went to sleep at around midnight. We were supposed to go to sleep by 10. And once we went back to our dorms, you could feel the tension. You could cut the tension with a knife and it would cut through. So on Sunday, usually we had services. People go to, the Protestants going to the hall to do their service, and the Catholics had their at the lab, the science lab will do their mass with a brother or a father who's present, who comes to the school and uh, uh, performs the mass. Muslims remained in class because on Fridays, that's when they did their prayers. SDA students used to come and join the Catholic because somehow the liturgy was nearly the same. Now, we didn't have atheists. Hmm. Now, on Sunday, we went, did the normal mass service, and mass usually is just 1 hour and done, and then we wait for the Protestants. The service can last for 3 hours. So for the Catholic, I was one. Um, Went back to class or go to the dorm, do your laundry, or if you did your laundry the previous day, fold your clothes well to prepare for the next the week, and then wait for tea break, because after service for the Protestants, that's when you have a tea break. During our tea break, after the service was ended, during our tea break, we were informed we need to report to our classes, because after tea break, usually we go back to preps, or we just hang around, do cleaning, general cleaning and all that. But now we were told we need to report to our respective classes. We didn't know what will come after. We reported to the classes. All of a sudden, the board of members uh, came to school full force. No one missed. They reached the school. So as we were in class, we didn't know what was happening, and we are told everyone to remain in their classes, either to study and wait to be given further instructions. We went back to class. Then all of a sudden, all teachers were present in school, and all class teachers went to their respective classes and gave us questionnaires, and we were told not to speak to each other. Just fill out the questionnaires. Don't even write your name. Just fill the questionnaires. The questionnaires had questions of, were you aware about the strike that was supposed to be planned? If so, who did you hear it from? If you didn't know about it, Where were you? And then if you're involved, what part did you play? So for those, here's a funny thing. All classes, we were four, see, Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, and 2 streams each. And that gives you 8 classes. If you had graduate somebody, obviously you will write their name there. So if you didn't have any idea, you just say, I didn't know, I didn't know, I don't know, and you pass all the people. Immediately we finished, that's when we had lunch break because it took time. Then after lunch, we were told still to report to class. Usually on Sundays, it was an easy day. You either decide to remain in class or go to the dorm and sleep or do your own studies. After lunch, teachers came into class for those who were suspected to be involved and rooted out one person after the other. Go to your dorm, pack your clothes, or pick your essentials or whatever you want, go home. Here's your leave out, and you're suspended. And you're told, there were people who were told to report after a week, there are others who were told to report after 2 weeks, and then there were those who were told to report to the board. They will be contacted and told when to report to the board. Now, from our Form 1 West, we didn't have anyone who was uprooted from the class. From the Form 1 East, that's when we knew we had one of us who was sent to get the matchstick. And she was suspended. And then she was told that the following week to report to their parent. Now, this is where things change, because once, and I'm seeing it done with this incident that happened last week, you might organize something as a group, but once you're sent home, that's when you know you are alone. But unless you're a twin and you both acted the same thing. Otherwise, you're on your own and you'll go and explain further. Our class happened to be adjacent to the computer lab, and that's where the meeting of the BOG members was. We didn't hear that meeting. But once, when the students who were suspended, who came back to either plead their case to be either accepted back to school or plead their case to be given a better transfer letter, oh, trust you me, those who are so bold and saying, my parent has my back anytime I do anything, that day they knew their parent can not want to be embarrassed. And some of their parents didn't know the gravity of what their child did that day or what their part was in planning the scheme. And you'll find even there was a parent who fainted. There's a parent who, for lack of a better word, turned on their child and beat them senseless. Because you hearing from people saying that your child was wanted to kill somebody can really change your perception of the child you have in your house. Because on watching ID channel and hearing about Evil Lives Here, that's when you know you might bring up your child in the best loving environment, the best understanding environment, but in case there's something wrong upstairs, like psychologically, or they're a psychopath, and it's not because of you, trust you me, they'll do things that will even shock you as a parent, and you'll be wondering, where this person came, or even saying, you'll find parents saying that was not my child anymore, that was a devil or a demon or somebody I didn't know. And that goes for every human, because do we really know who we are? Do you really know your sibling? You might be from the same home, but how people plan and what they think and how they will do it, or whatever they will do, it's only them they know. So on that note, the young girls were arrested, not from our school. Our school, uh, most of them were expelled, and then we were given a drastic change. We were shifted from different dorms. Um, I still remain the dorm I was in, and I became the captain since from 1 to now from 4. And then the Form 3s, a lot of them were expelled. And those who remained had to adjust to be very cautious about what they do and not find themselves in trouble. Because that really, once you are in such a scenario, now for me, such a scenario really shocked us. Uh, then I wonder how a scenario like what it happened last week, that it was banned and kids and students, your own desk mates or classmates or friends perished in that fire. And then you go back in history in Kenya, some boarding schools have experienced the worst things. There's a high school in Nyeri High for boys. They had this policy. The prefects were in a different dorm, having their own cubes. That was the privilege. Once you get to become a prefect, you had your own cube, like set out for reading, reading table, and your own bed. And because, well, if you gave punishment or reprimanded a student, even if it was a classmate, and they had a grudge on you, they were burnt, and they died a lot. And then there is also the incident also in Nairobi, Moi Girls, that students made fire from perfume. The worst incident that has ever happened was a boarding school that had both girls, boys and girls. They were studying this in Meru, and it happened when I was young, in primary school. So was it? Yeah. Well, our second president was in power. You can imagine how long that is. And no, was I even born? It happened in 89. I was not born. Um, and no, it happened in 91, when the year I was born. Uh, the boys' children had grievances of saying the girl students were being treated better than they were, and also there was favoritism according to them. I don't know, like, what really happened. I'm just reporting to what the reports happened later on. And the boys, seeing that the girls were being favored, decided to retaliate against the girls, and they decided to storm with chanting voices. There's a story that goes on, chanting voices of war, and decided to rape and attack the girls. They raped more than 79 girls, and more than that died because of the amount of torture they passed through, and then their domes were set ablaze. Now, then I ask, such things happen, and accountability, oh yes, some of them were caught and they were put in prison, and then later on, after 5 years, they were released. The psychological impact that happens after that, especially for those who survived, and also the ones who did the act. because of peer pressure. Later on, you become a parent, you have a girl child. And I believe if you have a conscience, you'll be fearing that nothing happens to your daughter the way you did to another person's daughter or a child. Let me put it generally. So it's a lot to talk about. Well, the blame game comes, okay, the girls, obviously, who did the deed. And also now people are asking, because that dorm was overcrowded, there were even bunk beds along the corridors, the place that is supposed to be free. One of the reasons even the stampede happened, because the passage was limited because of the beds that were added extra to host more students. Now, where the greediness comes in, that you have to compact people, like even also after that incident in our school, because of the requirement of the level of our school was, it needed to have a certain number of students to be called a provincial school. So they added more beds in cubes that were made it overcrowded. And okay, now at least they did construct more domes, but still, before we reached there, and I never saw a government official doing inspections. They'll do it for media coverage once in a while. But other than that, before, I remember even in high school, I knew you're not supposed to put security bars on the windows in case of anything. Like for us, we had meshed, not even bars, a meshed wire chicken fence on in the interior of the window. So even if in case of anything, we could not even pass through that window. At least, okay, I can say at least I was the dorm's captain, I had the keys, but thank God we locked the dorm inside, from inside, not from outside. So you could access it, open it from within the dorm. And also the ablution, on your way to the ablution, we had another exit door which was never locked with a padlock, so it was easy to open. I can say that helps, but education department needs to do better for security. And also, I know some parents are even questioning, should I even take my child to a boarding school? Sometimes circumstances push you to take children to boarding school because of maybe you want them to have full focus on schoolwork, because when you're at home they are distracted. But anyway, such is life. For those who lost their lives, I pray you rest in a better place. And for those who are guilty of doing that to their fellow students, may that pain never reach you, because I know it will, yeah, it will really mess with your head. That's all for today. Thank you for those who joined, subscribed, liked. It was a heavy topic that we needed to talk about and reflect on. Until next Tuesday, bye-bye.